On behalf of the Walmart Sustainability team, welcome to our 2022 Sustainability Milestone Summit. We are so excited to be here back in person, but we also have several thousand associates, friends, suppliers, partners online, so welcome to you as well. We're really excited about the day ahead. We know this is a critical moment for people and for the planet. And we know that we have to address climate change, nature loss, and the impact of plastic pollution. This decade could determine our future, and our associates and our customers are increasingly demanding that we do more. Which is why I'm so proud that we've made a commitment to becoming a regenerative company and to delivering against our bold goals, such as zero waste by 2025 in our own operations and zero emissions by 2040. And we're really excited today to celebrate progress against these goals, but more importantly, to focus on the work ahead. There are still problems to solve, and solving them will require continued innovation, accelerated action, and engaging all voices. Like the work we do with Open Call to identify and select new made in the USA suppliers. And today, I'm super excited to welcome ProudSource. In your bags, you'll find a ProudSource water bottle. They're one of our newest suppliers. Welcome, guys. Please stand up. They won a golden ticket at this year's Open Call, and we're happy to introduce you to their reusable water bottles. Please reuse them again and again and again, and it will help everything. I've also been particularly impressed by how many youth leaders are making an impact around the world and stepping up and taking action. So to get us started today, please welcome Amy and Ella Meek, founders of Kids Against Plastic.
The UN's IPCC estimates that we have just over 7 years left to keep global temperatures below a 1.5 degree rise and prevent catastrophic consequences of climate change.
This means that we no longer have time to waste before taking the climate action necessary to address this crisis. But it's enough time to do something meaningful, regardless of who you are, where you live, or what you do for a living. We coexist and co-inhabit.
7 years is also the amount of time that we've been running our charity, Kids Against Plastic, to help address the plastic pollution crisis through education programs, behaviour change, and importantly, youth empowerment.
During the time that we've been running our charity, we've seen a shift in attitudes and views towards plastic, from both the public and from the corporate sector. Even at Walmart, you've made some great changes to reduce your impact as a big business, from harnessing solar power to reducing your use of plastic bags and your carbon emissions.
This action is brilliant and necessary, but it doesn't mean that the sustainability box is ticked for you. This change needs to continue and be bigger and better than before.
You've set some meaningful goals, but you must also set interim targets that match the urgency of the situation we're in. We need to see market leaders like Walmart leading the way for consumers by making sustainable purchasing and action accessible, affordable, and genuine.
Your customers demand it and increasingly expect you to provide solutions.
7 years left to act isn't a number plucked from the air that can be dismissed like climate targets of previous years have been dismissed. It's a stark reminder, a ticking clock that tells us that now is the time to act, for the sake of our planet, our businesses, and for the future of our generation.
The next few years are life critical. Let's make them count.
Yeah, that was great, wasn't it? We hear you, Ella and Amy. Thank you for pushing us to continue on our sustainability journey. Now, to get us really started this morning, please join me in welcoming our CEO, Doug McMillan. Thank you for being here, Doug.
Thank you. Morning. Good morning. How is everybody? Thank you for being here. Thank you for being here if you're a Walmart or Sam's associate here in the U.S. or around the world. Thank you if you're one of our other partners. We appreciate your time and attention. Laura, nice to see you. Thought you were tired. You just can't stay out of it? Sorry. It was distracting. I'm like, am I going back in time here? We want to, I think, focus today on a number of things, but the thing that's primarily on my mind is the engagement of a broader group. When I look around this room, including you, Laura, I see people that have been involved in this effort for a lot of years, a lot of people that deeply care about it. But we would like to reach everybody. We would like to reach all of our associates. We'd like to reach all of our supplier partners and everyone else around the world so that we can make more progress in this window of time that these two young ladies described. I want to start this morning talking about our purpose and why we care about this. As a company, our purpose is articulated as we save people money and help them live a better life. Those words came from Sam Walton shortly before he passed away. And I think a lot of us understand that purpose. Many people have internalized that, and it means something to them in a deep way. But I do think for some, there's a little lack of clarity about what this means for our future, and specifically what we mean by live a better life. So I want to spend a little bit of time on that. Reading this thing left to right, the first word is we. And we, in this instance, means at least the 2.3 million Walmart associates around the world. We're one big team. Yes, we are made up of teams, but collectively, one group, one purpose, one set of values around the world trying to work together to make things better. And as Sam said, that's the secret. We're all working together. We save people money. I think that's what Walmart's primarily known for. Everyday low prices. We provide value. We've always provided value. In the beginning, it was a broad assortment and a discount store in small towns in the middle of the United States, and today it's grown into something much bigger. But when you ask people about Walmart, price leadership will be one of the things that's top of mind. Help. Lately, I've been asked a few times, if you could boil Walmart down into one concept, what would it be? And I think of our purpose and I think of our values first. But the one concept, I think if I had to just name one, it would be servant leadership. That's what I've seen in my 30 plus years with the company. We've seen it, John, this week in Florida with our associates doing extraordinary things, but a day doesn't go by where you don't see Walmart associates acting as servant leaders. And if you had me boil it down to one word, I think it's serve. And I don't know about you, but when I think about the time that I've invested into Walmart and our associates with my life, I think in the end, that word serve is going to be the word that I would have hoped to achieve. That's the thing that's going to give me some value. And I think, and I know a lot of you feel the same way. So what about live a better life? When I think about our strategy and our alignment to this purpose, there are several dimensions that are really clear to me. The first one is we've got to save people more time. We've got to take friction out of their lives. We've got to make things easier. They got enough going on. Anything we can do to take friction out and make it simpler, we should do. And being an omni-channel retailer, having e-commerce capabilities in addition to stores and clubs enables us to do that better and differently than anybody else. And that's a big part of our strategy. The second dimension is healthier. In every country that we operate in, healthcare could be better. I've focused a lot on the United States, but as I've traveled the world even recently, I'm not going anywhere where people are satisfied with the healthcare that they're receiving and the value that they're seeing from that aspect of their life. And we can help there. Financially stronger. Around the world, we've got financial services businesses in India, in Mexico, and here in the United States and other places. And what we're hoping to do there is to take out costs, lower transaction costs, help more money flow to families, and gently nudge them and educate them in ways that they can save, take advantage of the idea of compounding interest, and have wealth for their family later on to help them in a different way beyond just the everyday low prices that we offer. And then I think about communities and the planet. We want to strengthen their communities, and we want to help the planet be healthier and become a regenerative company so that we can add back, not just slow decline for all of us. And thankfully, the company started a long time ago, working, as many of you know, and many of you were part of, back before 2005. And we've made progress, a 23% reduction in operational emissions since 2015. You can read the list all the way across, more than halfway to our Project Gigaton goal, which is great. And thank you to all the suppliers that are participating in that. Waste being diverted. Any of you feel comfortable with these numbers? Like satisfied? You're trained at Walmart to say no when somebody asks you that question. There's no chance anybody's saying yes. But I think the truth is you're probably not satisfied. I'm not. We're constantly looking for a way to make a bigger difference, to go faster, to be broader. So while we can celebrate successes, we've got to keep doing real work to make more progress. And that brings me back to kind of where I started. We need everybody's help. We need everybody to be involved. We need everybody to be creative, coming up with their ideas on what we can do to make a bigger difference and faster. Looking ahead, there are a number of different areas that we're focused on. One is transportation. Long-haul tractors is a particular area of focus. When we started our work, we estimated that somewhere like 8 to 10% of our impact on the environment was through our own assets, our stores, our supply chain, our tractors, et cetera. The other 92% was outside, kind of in the supplier community and beyond, counting all of our reach. And so we want to make sure, whatever that number is, 10 or whatever it is, that we're doing everything we can do with our own assets. We're walking the talk, setting a good example, making progress, which helps give us a right to challenge others to join us in that work. So that's what we're doing with our tractors. That's what we're doing with our stores. Nabila, this is a store you guys have got coming in Montreal next year in 2023. It's got a green roof, ultra low flow restrooms, building materials made of recycled content, and LED lighting throughout. And then another area where I think we can make more progress, and I'd just like to challenge all of you to think about it, is behavioral change on the parts of our customers and members. On the one hand, our job is to design everything we do in a way that the path of least resistance is the more sustainable or regenerative approach, so that they don't have to have any trade-offs. On the other hand, there's some places where we need help. Around the world, plastic bags are going away. We're making that transition. We got a team working on it here. You'll hear more about that. We need to see more recycling. We need to see more waste elimination on behalf of everybody. So this associate group kind of starts out in the inner circle, and it spreads to our suppliers and other partners, and then we want to reach customers and members and have their behavior change too, by designing things that make it easy for them, but also inspiring them to make a difference, make a change in their life so that they can help us more broadly. And it's starting to happen. I mean, it's been happening, and our associates are grabbing hold. But I want to challenge us today to do even more, but I also want to encourage you. So let me show you a little bit of how our associates are already starting to take action in a different way. We could run that video, please.
Walmart to be so large and to have its goals completely aligned with mine. I've been working for Walmart for 23 years. It just kind of reaffirms that I am working for the right company. What our associates actually volunteered to do is plant some pollinator-friendly flowers and bulbs. I could do a project right here in Beaver Dam, Wisconsin, and feel like I'm making a difference.
Our store here, we are good about wanting to save the bees. And I think that it's great that Walmart has really opened up the doors to let us put out the knowledge.
I had my hesitations about driving an electric vehicle, but it's got plenty of power. I've grown to like it. The footprint that we remove from the environment is going to be huge.
We recently got rid of plastic bags. Walmart's motto is save money, live better. The live better, I believe, is the sustainability part.
Walmart ha creado varios programas para mejorar la familia de México, que vivan mejor.
The company is made of ordinary people doing extraordinary things. We have an opportunity to basically have a ripple effect upon the world. If we can kind of lead the way and show a shining example of what others can do, I think others would follow suit too as well.
John Ferner, President and CEO of Walmart US. John, some of your associates were in that video. Talk a little bit about what you're seeing now as it relates to embedding regeneration, sustainable thinking into our business throughout the business.
Yeah, sure. And first, it's just great to see the video and our people and the stories. The stories make such a difference. Those are the things that we remember and we're inspired by. What I get really excited about is when I'm in a situation where I can hear the work that started all the way back, Jib, in 2004. I remember Laura and I were in meetings with you 18 years ago. But to hear new merchants and new operators embedded in what they're talking about, things like product quality, packaging, John, the way that the farmers are operating, or sustainable produce. There's so many things coming through. It's rewarding when you hear it coming out as part of what we do. It's not a separate activity. We don't think about our commercial business and be sustainable. Our business has to be sustainable, and we provide the value of scale for the world.
Tell us more about the supply chain specifically and what you're working on there.
Sure. Lot going on in the supply chain. Start with the customer. Our customers expect to be served in a way where they can save money and live better. And in many cases, live better means saving time or having less friction. So we've taken a step back and taken a look at the entire supply chain. And the supply chain, they're no longer 4 independent supply chains, but it is a more broad supply chain that consolidates early, sometimes offshore, and then can deconsolidate as late as the refrigerator. And the exciting part about the capabilities we've built from the local markets, from the stores to the driveway, is those are going to be electric. And we've made a commitment that all of our vehicles that we'll be purchasing going forward will be electric from BrightDrop or from Ford or from others. We have a deal with Canoe, a startup. So we're going to be extremely committed to helping build scale like Walmart can do in the electric utility vehicle space.
That's really exciting. If you had one ask of our associates or suppliers, what would that be?
I think I would say exactly what I heard from you just a couple minutes ago. This is an effort that we need everyone. This isn't an effort where it just needs to be a few people in a room trying to solve big problems. The 2 young ladies in the video said it. This is our problem. And for some people, they're actively engaged. That's great. There are others that may not be engaged and they might be passive about it. But there are things we can do each and every day that will make an impact. Even when the consumer, in certain cases, certain instances, aren't all that concerned, we can make a difference. So I would just ask that this become a part of who we are, part of what you do, and a part of what we can make change for the good of everyone together.
Yeah, so as you leave today, as you leave this meeting, think about what you can do to help make that possible. And as John said, stories, there's just something about them. People remember stories. Facts are interesting, but when we get through today, you'll probably only remember the stories you were told rather than a percentage of some number. So if you need help with stories, first of all, create your own. Go do work, tell your own story, but reach out to Jane, reach out to somebody, and you can use stories to help spread this idea that we all need to be engaged in a different way so that we make more progress. John, thanks for your leadership. Appreciate it. I've got a group now I'm going to bring up. You guys want to start this way. Diana, Megan, Nabila, and Julie are going to join me, and we're going to cover their P&L for the next 45 minutes. Surprise! Who wants to go first and ask a hard question? I'll just kind of go down the row, I guess. Diana's, she's a merchant, she's a leader, but she's also become an operator as of late. How's that going?
It's going well. I was told the other day, it's been like an operator forever. They don't even know I was a merchant anymore.
Really?
You can ask about my merchant friends, maybe.
Is that a compliment or?
I think so.
Okay, we'll go with compliment. So you've had the opportunity to have a lot of different perspectives as it relates to the company now. And tell us about the associates. Talk about our frontline, our store associates. How is this resonating with them and what are you seeing?
You know, it's been really great to see some examples. And the thing that I've been most impressed is that they understand the recycling programs that we have at store, the impact on our customers, as well as their communities. And 2 things that I would highlight that I love seeing really great execution, no matter the store I walk into, is single-use bags at the front, right? So we know we're working to get out of them. All of you have our new version of a bag you can show up at the store and shop with today. But
thank you, Elvis.
Yes, thank you, Elvis. But we have that in every store, Doug, and so we're executing that well. There's not a store I walk into that I don't see that, which is really important. And then also we know our corrugate program that we recycled has been going for years, and it's something that's just part of the process, which is great. But one of the things I've really loved seeing is some of the innovation that's happening. And so I was actually in Dallas and have been able to see some new packaging that we're doing, and it's 100% recyclable. So it's paper mail envelopes. And the really cool thing is that the associates are giving feedback to the engineers and the sustainability team on what works. And so they're making sure we have the right sizes, that it doesn't break, that they're not wasting. And it's been really fun to watch that in a few stores in Texas sort of come to life. And we're making progress. They were giving feedback on the tearing last week when I was there with a group of folks. And it's been good to see their engagement and their understanding of the importance of we need to transition and that they're part of the solution. Yeah. So excited to see that they're able to help move us forward, and hopefully that will start to scale as we go into the next year.
Very cool. Thanks for sharing that story. One of the things that goes through my mind when you tell that story is that this business never stops changing. Like, some of us have been doing this for a long time now, and you'd think we had everything figured out, but we don't, do we? Like, there's always something else, large or small, that we can do, one idea that'll spread hopefully across other suppliers and other packaging providers, as you described. It's awesome. There's so much more to do. Speaking of doing stuff, Megan leads the merchandising team for Sam's Club. I love what you've done with Members Mark. I aspired to do that a long time ago and never got it done, but you guys are on it. You and Pratibha and others. Tell us about that journey and what you're doing.
Yeah, I think it's one we're really excited about, and so are our members. So we have been on this journey for the last couple of years around reinventing Members Mark, and we've been very focused on quality. But we've also recently announced some pretty bold goals around what we see Members Mark in the future. So on the quality journey, we've reformulated, relaunched new items, over 1,200 new items in Members Mark since 2020. And with that quality focus, our members are telling us, like, we're onto something. They notice it's actually becoming a more important part of their why they renew their membership at Sam's Club. So we know we're connecting with our members there. And with the quality, that's going. So we thought this is the right time for us to relaunch the Members Mark brand. And we're gonna do it this time with a stronger purpose. So back on Earth Day, this year, we relaunched Members Mark, and the new purpose is made with our member and our planet in mind. So this is our signal to our members, hey, we are listening to you, and we are going where you want us to go. And they love it so far. So a great example is this Members Mark antimicrobial mat. I know, really exciting. But so 97% of the top of the mat is made from PET recycled bottles, and 97% of the base of the mat is actually made from tires. So it takes one tire to make one mat. We're gonna make 400,000 mats this year, and we'll take 400,000 tires out of a landfill. So what we're excited about is members are telling us, hey, you're listening to me, you're connecting with me, you're gonna make a high quality product, it's gonna be at a disruptive price. But by buying this, I actually get to do something good for the environment too. So, and we think we're just getting started, so more to come there.
Very cool. If you're not buying Members Mark items, you're missing out. Like, go try some of them. They've really stepped up quality, and the fact that you're thinking about the whole loop and regeneration now just takes it to a whole nother level. Nabila was recently promoted. She was leading our people team, had some corporate affairs responsibilities, but 6 months or so ago became our chief operating officer. Congratulations to Nabila. So you too are getting a different perspective. This intersection of people and operations is a natural one. Tell us what you're seeing as it relates to regeneration.
Yeah, so I think in Canada, we've had the opportunity to lead in regeneration for some time. But since our regeneration commitments, we've just accelerated our position. And it started really with leadership, Doug. I think bringing the Regenerative Leadership Summit that you all did here last year to our leadership team, connecting our vision and purpose around regeneration, our commitments to personal goals, and everyone across the Canadian leadership team made those personal commitments of how they were going to drive our mission forward. And since then, it's enabled us to build a truly enterprise approach, a roadmap that cuts across every single part of the organization. So, the Montreal, our most sustainable store that's going to be in our fleet, that was from the real estate team. We've made huge bets on electric vehicles in our transport and supply team. We've planted 10 pollinator gardens across our stores. We removed plastic bags from our operations across the entire country from coast to coast as of April. We've made the largest commitment in sustainable beef, 2.5 million pounds of sustainable beef, the largest commitment in Canada. And that's the kind of acceleration that comes after the leadership team and the entire organization, our associates in our stores, and our leaders just connect their hearts to this mission. Mm-hmm. And I think it goes back to what you said, like, this is about much more than just doing it because it's good business. It's about the next generation. And many people may or may not know that there's a really rich Indigenous community in Canada. And we've made a commitment to learn from our Indigenous community. And the Indigenous community has this belief or this principle, it's called 7 generations. And it basically asks you to think about the decisions you're making and the effect it'll have on 7 generations ahead of you. And that's something that we took as a reflection point in our leadership journey, and it's really made a huge difference. So it's really powerful.
Yeah, it's really good. There's been a lot of progress made out of Walmart Canada recently. Thanks for recapping some of it. That's been kind of a legacy of the business, but you guys are taking it to the next level. And when I think about your store, it reminds me of a store we did a long time ago in Lawrence, Kansas. We changed something in the Sam's Clubs in Fayetteville. At times, it makes sense to go find a product or a building or something that you can push out to the edge and try experimental things, be more aggressive. You know, this company's not going to get broken over one store that doesn't go well. We need to push the envelope, and it's great to see you guys are doing that again. So Julie, we've got people, 2.3 million, but we also got a lot of products, and products all have a story. Every item has its own story, and you and the merchants are helping to push things forward and design regeneration into items. Would you talk a little bit about how you're doing that? What's happening?
Yeah, it's been really fun. Our merchants, especially in hardlines, have a huge focus on sustainability. What they're doing is essentially in their AOP, they include sustainability as a pillar and they make it a focus. We also, every line review, so every time I go walk a store, walk the layout center with the team, they talk about all the sustainability work that they're doing and the packaging and the things that they're changing. In hardlines, one of the things that we've found that really works is choosing a couple champions. So we have a couple champions from the merchant side. We also have product development team members from our product team. And we get together and we actually meet on a quarterly basis and we talk about what are our goals? Are we going to achieve them? We share best practices. Some great things have come from it. It's really one of our most fun meetings that we have every quarter because what we see is the team come in and they're so proud of, hey, we found this item before. We thought through how do we actually remove some of this plastic or how do we think about different components that we can use in the product that were recyclable, similar to the things that Megan talked about. And what we found is that we're making really big progress from that. And so as a BU, I would tell you we're pretty competitive and we like to think that we're leading the way across my peers. I see John on the front, he might debate me, but we
get a mic if you want, John. You can
yeah,
debate
it's okay. What we are loving is that we think that we are going to be the first BU in hardlines to meet our sustainable packaging goals. And so we're feeling pretty good about that. And we also have a huge opportunity that we think is, nearing the end on Project Gigaton, where we are ahead of maybe our peers in thinking through how do we work with our suppliers. So I think this sort of culmination of putting it in your AOP, thinking about it at the front of everything we do. And then the last thing I would say for us is that we do not want to change anything about our quality. We only want to improve it. And so I think often people think, well, if we use sustainable type of materials or we make sure the packaging is more sustainable, that the cost might go up. And so what we've done is say, or at the expense of quality. And what we're saying is, no, we're going to have equal to or better quality, and we're going to lower the cost, if possible, based on this. And so what's been really fun is often in our walkthroughs, I'll say, okay, is this going to cost our customer any more? And you know what my team tells me every time? We've thought through this in so many ways, actually, Julie, it's going to cost less or it's going to be the same, but we're really focusing on not increasing that cost to the customer. So it's a fun journey.
Love that. Being a systemic thinker and understanding the whole story so that you can change something and have the outcome be what you described is absolutely the right approach. And it takes merchants diving into detail and doing hard work to figure it out. But grateful to everybody that's actually making that happen. One last question for each one of you, and then we'll wrap up. As a leader, what advice would you give to other leaders about how to instill this mindset and regeneration in your associate group, the group that you lead? Nabila, you want to go first?
Yeah, for sure. So, we've been on a really big journey on well-being. And when we think about well-being, we also think about social and environmental well-being. We know how much our environment and society and what's happening in society affects our well-being. And when we think about the future, we will all want resilience. And we want resilience as individuals, we want resilience in our families, we want resilience in our communities, we want resilience in our business. And protecting the environment, working on sustainability is building resilience into the business. And it's about also building resilience into our social lives and our family lives and our personal lives. And so, again, it's just connecting those things and the things we're working on together. And when you do that, I think people see that and they just automatically want to make a difference.
It's good. Julie?
Yeah, I think it's about putting the customer first. And as we're thinking through this, often we would say, this is what the customer wants, right? And if we're thinking about the customer first, we're able to more broadly think about they want to have the best price, the best quality, and the sustainability. And if we're thinking through that with our suppliers, I think we have really big wins.
Megan?
Mine's about the same. Like we say, we're member obsessed at Sam's. So if you really listen to your member, like they want this and they're excited about it. So we want them to trust us that they're going to get a great product when they buy something from us, but they're also going to do something good for the world around them, and that's important to us as well.
I think what's different today versus the past is it's really how do you create it into part of your daily routine, and how do you make sure that everyone understands that they can play a role and that they can make a difference. And so it's similar to making sure it's part of the AOP, as you're walking stores talking about it. We have to make this part of everyday life to really make sure that it is right for the next decades and right for the future. So celebrating the wins, recognizing those that are going above and beyond and bringing ideas and really trying some things along the way. So as long as we keep it top of mind every single day, I think we will be surprised about what we can do.
Yeah. Celebrating the wins is important. Recognizing good work and recognizing people as part of the process. Telling stories, give people something to read. Take them on an Eat What You Cook trip. Go to a factory, go to a field, understand things, touch things, learn. Hopefully you're curious and trying to figure out what's next and how to make things better in this variety of ways. Thank you for your leadership. We just challenge all of you as you leave this session today to go do something different and go inspire others so that we get more impact. Thank you all. Great job.
Hello, everybody. I'm incredibly happy to be part of this important discussion. Tell me a little bit about what you've been doing in this area and how regeneration is playing out for Walmart sourcing.
Yeah, absolutely, Judith. We're looking to completely transform our business and product supply chain to be regenerative for the future. To do that, we're taking an approach that addresses issues and opportunities within the product supply chain that relate to climate change, nature, waste, and people. Let me give you one example that I'm super passionate about. It's the Great Value Tuna Can. So in recent years, our teams completely transformed our private brand tuna category with a customer-centered approach, going directly to the supplier instead of domestic importers. We focused on improving the quality so we could provide our customers with the best tuna on the market without increasing the price, and while improving our value proposition for the customer. But it's bigger than that. Looking across our supply chain from fishing vessels and transportation to processing plants and distribution, we worked with our sustainability team to meet a goal to be 100% Marine Stewardship Council certified by 2025. And to ensure our suppliers are fishing the oceans in a sustainable way, not overfishing and protecting species like dolphins, turtles, and young fish.
For me, that is creating a true economic ecosystem for an entire community, and it's good for our customers as well. So it's one of my favorite examples of all of the ones that you talk about. But it also really speaks to me to the unique advantage of our scale and the ability to bring the right pieces together to address a need or a challenge. In Walmart International, we talk about our strategy of strong local businesses powered by Walmart. And Walmart sourcing really is the powered by, and it's so relevant here. It means that we've got the unique ability to bring Walmart's global resources together at scale and to convene the right partners to solve big problems. We cannot do this alone. Because as a global retailer, we have an end-to-end view that few other companies have, and we can reach across all parts of the supply chain, from the field and the raw materials right the way through to the end customer.
Our Vrithi supplier program in India is a great example of our work here and how we're working to build trust as a force for good. The Vrithi program aims to train 50,000 of India's micro, small, and medium-sized enterprises to make in India for global supply chains by 2025. MSMEs from across India are participating in the program, and we have 19,000 suppliers already graduate today, which is incredible. We continue to broaden the program's reach to suppliers that have the desire to make in India or sell around the world. And so far this year, our Flipkart business has trained and built capacity for more than 10,000 farmers across India to improve their access to national markets and fulfill their growth potential.
The entrepreneurs in Vrithi are doing brilliant things, and they're actually gaining access to something bigger through Walmart.
It's exactly right, Judith. We want to bring high-quality India-made goods to customers worldwide, strengthening the ecosystem in India and helping strong local businesses to become export ready. And that's the full cycle and the full potential of Vrithi.
But it's not just in India, it is in multiple markets around the world where we can make that kind of difference. You know, there's such opportunity for us to continue to be a force for good and bring others along with us. I know the team is also very focused on responsible sourcing, and it's something that we like to continue to develop. Can you tell us more about how we're thinking about that, how we're collaborating with our partners to bring this to life?
Our businesses depend on our ability to source responsibly made products, and our core values of respect for the individual and for human rights actually demand it. We've long held our suppliers to strict standards by holding them accountable through facility audits and empowering workers to speak up when something isn't right. We recently enhanced supplier requirements for supply chain traceability, making it very clear to our suppliers that they have a responsibility to know their end-to-end supply chains and uphold our standards throughout the process, not just in their own facilities. And this extends to their suppliers, their subcontractors, their agents, and upstream production or processing of any of the components or raw materials they're using to make for the products they sell to us at Walmart. We're also working to help develop and promote the Ethical Charter on Responsible Labor Practices, a labor code of conduct for the fresh produce industry. Walmart aims to source 100% from fresh produce and floral suppliers who have endorsed the Ethical Charter on Responsible Labor Practices by the end of 2022. At our last fiscal year, we were at 69%. So we've got a little bit of progress to make here, but I know the team will hit the goal.
You know, we're putting a lot of resources and investment behind this incredibly important work. Since 2016, Walmart and the Walmart Foundation have invested more than $45 million in organizations promoting fair and responsible labor practices in global supply chains. You know, that tells you a lot about how critical we believe this work is to our business, and everybody we interact with has a part to play. I want to take a moment to recognize the many partners and suppliers who've joined us on the journey, and also welcome all of the new joiners as we head into the future. Thank you so much for your support.
Well, thanks to Judith and Andrea. You know, it's true. People are at the heart of a retail business, and so is nature. Almost everything that we sell can be traced back to nature: forests, oceans, grasslands, freshwater systems. Yet natural ecosystems are at a point of crisis. So as part of our commitment to become a regenerative company, Walmart and the Walmart Foundation have made a commitment to more sustainably manage, conserve, or restore 50 million acres of land and 1 million square miles of ocean by 2030. So how are we doing this? A few examples. First of all, by fostering more sustainable production of commodities. For example, by the end of last year, more than 550 of our suppliers, thanks very much, have engaged in the nature pillar of Project Gigaton. Second, supporting conservation of critical ecosystems. So, for example, Walmart's Acres for America program, to date with National Fish and Wildlife Foundation, has conserved 1.8 million acres of land in the United States. Third, place-based projects, and we'll hear more about that in a minute. These are projects that combine sustainable production of commodities with conservation and restoration and livelihoods for local communities. You heard Judith and Andrea mention that. So tuna in the Republic of Marshall Islands is an example, rice in Arkansas, cattle grazing in the Northern Great Plains. These are all examples, and we'll talk about that in a moment. But before I bring up some fantastic leaders to help us understand what's happening in this space, let's hear from Charles Redfield, who's our EVP and Chief Merchandising Officer at Walmart. And he's going to explain why has he asked his teams to prioritize this work.
Hi, everyone. My name is Charles Redfield. I'm the Chief Merchandising Officer here for Walmart US. First thing I want to do is thank you for participating in today's summit. You know, over the years, I've worked with many of you, and I know the dedication you bring to what you do. Together, we work to serve millions of customers each day by bringing them quality products at everyday low prices. Our ability to do this effectively is based on our commitment to building a sustainable, regenerative, and reliable supply chain, especially where staples such as animal proteins, row crops, and seafood are concerned. These ingredients are foundational to the health and nutrition of our customers and our communities, and they must continue to be accessible, affordable, and sustainably sourced. One of the most effective ways to do this is through place-based solutions. These solutions support local ecosystems, and they create a shared value by generating important benefits both for people, nature, and also business. In the last year, we launched several place-based initiatives across key commodities such as beef, rice, and tuna. And we did this just to demonstrate that a localized approach to soil health and a community resilience is actually possible. While we've made meaningful progress towards our goals, we know there's much more to do, but we can't do it alone. All of us, our associates, suppliers, and NGO partners play a critical role in this work, and I look forward to what we'll accomplish together. So thank you to everyone working to accelerate this work. We see the impact, and we must continue to replicate this across our entire business. Thank you again for your collaboration. Kathleen, over to you.
Thanks so much, Charles. And I'd like to welcome up here some partners of ours from the merchandising ranks, the supplier community, NGOs, so please join me up here. We're gonna go deeper into a few examples just to help bring it to life for people. So come on up, so you can sit anywhere you like, grab a mic. Really super pleased to be joined here today. Let me just introduce the folks. So we have A.C. Eggleston Bracey, who's the U.S. President of Unilever, longstanding partner of ours. We've got Mr. Nick Sekran, who's the Chief Conservation Officer at World Wildlife. Great to see you, Nick. Matt Arnold, who's the Global Head of Impact, Finance, and Markets at Nature Conservancy. Welcome, Matt. And of course, Martine Mundo at Walmart, who is our SVP and GMM of produce and seafood and all things fresh these days. So thanks for being with us, Martine. So let's start off, Nick, with you, because it was really the groundbreaking work of your team that led us to realize we needed to elevate nature to the same level of energy and waste and people in supply chains. And it was this report, the Living Planet report, a number of years ago that kind of got our attention. Tell us a little bit about this work.
Thank you so much, Kathleen. We publish the Living Planet report every 2 years, and in it we unpack an index called the Living Planet Index, where we look at the status of species. And specifically in the last report, we looked at the status of some 4,400 species and 21,000 monitored populations representing those species. And what we found is that between 1970 and 2018, there was a 68% decline in those populations. Now, that is a statistic which should worry all of us. It is, unfortunately, representative of what's happening to nature. We're seeing loss and degradation across the world. And that's why Walmart's nature target is so important. We can't change those trend lines unless we work with business. And I have to say, you've been an amazing partner. I mean, this is a journey, progressive realization. You mentioned the work in the Northern Great Plains. We happen to work with you there. You're our partner as we work with others. And we're making big headway. You know, we've set an ambitious target to bring 1 million acres of land and better land stewardship in ways that are good for livelihoods, but good for nature too. And we're nearly half of our way there already. And now, because that's the target is against 2025. I think we've done 530,000 acres already. And the good thing about that, Kathleen, is not just good for the environment, it's also good for people. So 60% of those ranches are either managed or co-managed by women, and some 40% or 39% to be exact, for ranches less than 40. So we're actually making a difference in the lives of people, but a representative slice of the population at that.
Yeah, and full disclosure, I come from a ranching family in Montana, and it's really that intersection of people's livelihoods and nature that we're talking about here, and people need to eat. So we live on a finite planet. How can we continue to produce food for people, yet conserve the critical ecosystems that we need to, and sustain livelihoods of people in those communities who are producing? That's really the vision. So Martine, you've been putting this into practice, leading fresh initiatives, produce, seafood. Tell us a bit about your work. How have you tackled this?
Well, morning, everyone. Let me talk a little bit about the importance of pollinators, right? I would start by saying we really need insects, right? Especially the ones that are, pollinators. About 75%, Kathleen, of the major crops in the world, they require pollination, or they are dependent on pollinators. In April last year, we launched the largest pollinator protection project of any U.S. retailer in the U.S. And there, we established 2 or 3 clear commitments. The first one was reduce nature loss. The second one was incorporate integrated pest management. And last but not least, we choose to, label pollinator friendly on our live plants in our stores. And when we talk about stores, watching the video, it's impossible for us not to talk about the role of our associates, right? They're playing a critical role on us, advancing forward some of these initiatives. I would say that over 50% of the progress that has been made in our stores, Kathleen, has been driven by the fact that we were able to provide the training so they know how to humanely interact with swarms. And I can tell, as a result of that, both in clubs and stores, we were able to relocate safely more than 15 million bees and create 15 million, pollinator gardens. So we're extremely excited about that. Last thing I will say is we have a close relationship with our grower partners, and we try to focus them, on helping protect and focus to drive forward these, initiatives around that.
That's great. Well, they say retail is detail. When you talk about relocating 50 million bees, it puts a new light on that phrase, doesn't it? I want to talk about seafood. I'm going to go to Matt, and then please chime in, Martine, with thoughts on this. So, Matt, Nature Conservancy has really, really been focusing on regenerative foodscapes, and have a report for that, too, that you guys put out, which I find so inspiring. We'll make these available to folks. So tell us a bit about that work. Charles, Andrea mentioned the Pacific Island tuna. That's an example. What does that mean, regenerative foodscapes, and how are we working together on that?
Well, just like Doug mentioned stories and Andrea mentioned great value tuna, I'd like to tell you just a very quick story about the Pacific Island Tuna Company, which didn't exist a year ago. It's a joint venture between the Nature Conservancy and the government of the Marshall Islands, created by that man over there, Mark Zimmering, my colleague. And why did we create an NGO, create a tuna company, a trading company? Because we failed for years to convince the incumbent supply chain of tuna in the Western Pacific to change and become more sustainable in their practices. You may not know that more than half the tuna eaten in the world comes from the Western Pacific. It's a very challenging supply chain. Conditions on ships are not great. There's a lot of sort of mistakenly killed other animals. Andrea mentioned turtles and dolphins. And we just couldn't see a way to changing that. So we formed our own company. And that's a company that works with ships to fish more sustainably. I won't go to the details of how, but it's monitored and verified. And we're now a small part of the great value supply chain. And I have to say, as a lifelong environmentalist, it's unbelievable what creative people can do when they don't see barriers, or the barriers they see, they bust down. This is an unusual partnership. It could not have happened without Walmart. And you have a government and an NGO forming a company, a for-profit company, now a supplier to Walmart. And it's small, and it's very exciting. But we need to do a lot more. We need to do shrimp. We need to do salmon. We need to grow this. And that, to me, is a deep example, Kathleen. I didn't want to go into because I like stories too, Doug.
Yeah, well, it's right. And, Charles is committed to 10 commodities being pursued in this way. So you mentioned tuna, there's salmon, there's shrimp, beef, rice, and so on. Martine, do you want to add a comment, and then we'll go to AC?
Quickly, I'm going to compliment, because we share the same excitement. I think seafood is a great, an important source of both protein, nutrition, and income for many people around the world. And our goal in this is very simple. We want to create transparency and trust in this seafood supply chain because of all the reasons that were shared before. And in order for us to do that, certifications are critical. I'll give you one example. Some of the fresh or frozen or, farmed wild seafood that we source, it earns the certification of the marine stewardship. So that is absolutely a great thing for us. I can say that we're over 98% sustainable in these practices. But we don't stop there. I mean, we're talking about, place-based initiatives in seafood, and the tuna example was shared many times. So I'm not going to get into that, but last year we talked about our great value tuna. I know Andre was talking about that. It was mentioned several times. Today, I'm lucky to share that we are aiming to expand those practices to other commodities like both salmon and shrimp, with similar practices in the near future. So the team is super focused. We're super excited. We see a clear opportunity to make a difference, but we will not stop there. In a minute, you will hear Tyler talk about our initiatives on beef, place-based initiatives on beef that are making a difference as well.
That's great. So AC, Unilever, we've been working with you for so long. You're such a leader in so many ways in sustainability. Tell us how you're tackling place-based sourcing.
Yeah, well, first, Kathleen, it's just an honor to be here. This topic is so important. And a company like Walmart, with its strength and scale, and when we partner together, and particularly in our biggest brand like Dove, we can make big impact. At Unilever, I'm reminded of that. In 2019, we took our Dove body wash bottles to 100% PCR, and we saved enough plastic that was the equivalent of taking out water bottles that could wrap the earth around 3.5 times. That's a lot of water. That's a lot of plastic, right? And that makes a difference. And so, today what I'm really excited to announce is the new partnership that we're taking on, and it's across the Dove business and Unilever, to actually move beyond sustainability, which is doing less harm, but restoring and regenerating the planet and leaving a positive footprint. And so what we will be doing, and I'd love to show you a video about together, is actually investing in the ecosystem of nature that has been devastated by industry impact and by climate change. So to really impact our footprint. But let's have a look and I'll talk to you more about that.
Let's roll the video. Thanks.
So let's just unpack that a little bit. We are so excited about this because this is a 5-year commitment, and this is a big, ambitious commitment, bigger than any beauty company has made. And what are the parts of it? It's about forest, and you can say, why forest? There's so much in nature to impact. But forest, you may not know that a tree can actually absorb 48 pounds of CO2, and that is a year. So it makes a big difference in our fight against climate action and climate change. The second thing are the ecosystems that support that. It's around protecting wildlife and bringing that back to the forest. And as you mentioned earlier, it's about investing in the communities that are around that, because that makes a difference. It's the people that also maintain the forest. And then the scale is huge. It's enough land that surrounds 25,000 super centers. That's how much forest. So that's impact. And the last thing that I will say is provides a huge opportunity for the Walmart customer. It allows them to have a chance to put their money where their hearts are. And I want to give a huge shout out and thank you to Latrice Watson from the consumables team, who is always pushing us. We're going to bring this to life in store with Sean Townsend, Department 2 in body care, and with Angel Beasley in Department 46, which is breakthrough, bringing this all together. So, thank you for pushing us and making a commitment for customers to live better now and for tomorrow.
Thanks a lot, AC. And it's an example of how nature ingredients end up in surprising places, right? Your shampoo, your body wash, and so on. Last word, Nick, I'm going to come to you. Any advice for people here, suppliers, associates, especially in merchandising, around how to accelerate progress for nature through sourcing?
Okay, well, first of all, it's a wicked problem. I mean, the challenges that we face in trying to turn the tide on the loss of nature are enormous, and it's beyond the ability of any one group, that be companies or governments or NGOs, to be able to do that alone. And so we need to work together and we need to persevere. I think it's just so wonderful to have this partnership with Walmart and through Walmart with all of your suppliers, and to try and connect those suppliers to more sustainable sources of production. I mean, we are working with many of your suppliers. We have a partnership with HP, and through them and through that partnership, we're seeking to restore and sustainably manage some 200,000 acres of forest. For working forests in China, restoration of the threatened Atlantic forest in Brazil. I mean, it's just such an amazing opportunity. And so I think over time, we'd like to see more companies stand up, more companies take their lead from you, Kathleen, at Walmart, and help us collectively solve this issue.
Thanks so much. Thanks to all of you for being with us today. We really appreciate it. We're going to take you now to Nebraska, as we mentioned, for a conversation led by Tyler Lair, who's our SVP and GMM of Deli Services, Meat and Seafood. And he's going to be joined by Grant Keenan, Walmart's Director of Cattle Management and Procurement. I love that. I want to be on his succession slate. And so we're going to talk about regenerative agriculture. What does that look like in the beef chain? And after that, we're going to hear from Miles Lee, who's an aspiring farmer. He's a sophomore in sustainable agriculture at North Carolina A&T State. So we're going to hear from him about our work with the Future Farmers of America. So thanks very much to you, and let's go to the tape.
Thanks to Kathleen and team for that conversation. As mentioned in the panel, the work that Walmart does to promote regenerative agriculture practices wouldn't be possible without our partners, our farmers, our ranchers, so thank you. Our next video takes you on a journey through Nebraska. It touches on the many interconnected things involved in regenerative agriculture. This is a multi-generational commitment for farmers. Farmers like the Carlson family, who understand the value of regenerative practices that emphasize long-term soil health, economic outcomes, and quality products for our customers. After touring Jordan Carlson's farm to see what best-in-class regenerative farming looks like and what he and his family have been doing for years, it was an easy decision to start sourcing popcorn from them. Walmart and Prime Pursuit set out to work with like-minded farmers and ranchers who are also committed to regenerative practices in their grazing and row crop management practices. That's just what we did in Nebraska, and that's where our video begins. Take a look, and thank you to Prime Pursuits and our farmer and rancher families, some of who are here today. We remain committed to working with you on advancing regenerative practices and ensuring that ranchers and farmers are fairly rewarded for practicing regenerative farming.
This all started 136 years ago when my great-granddad came in here and settled right here behind this tree. Our objective is to improve this land to make it better for the next generation.
I've ranched here all my life. I'd be the 5th generation here on the ranch. Regenerative ranching is what we're all about. In order for us to get it to that point, we have to become better stewards of the land. We have to become more productive. We have to be better grass producers.
Here today at the Tucker Ranch, we're on thousands of acres of native grassland, which is supporting over 50+ native species of plants, forbs, wildflowers. The management practices that we're using are adding biodiversity and allowing those native plants to flourish in the system. We're using every single product back in the cycle to be done again in the next year with very, very little commercial input.
We're able to give the customers what they've always said they wanted. They want to know what's in it. They want to know where it came from. This is a set of Prime Pursuit steers that are dedicated specifically for the program at Walmart. We're able to continue tracing that animal all the way through the supply chain and to that customer shelf.
Year after year, we've got to fill that high moisture corn pile. We've got to come back and bring the crop in and utilize that throughout the whole next year. And that field that we grabbed that crop from has got to do that for us again next year and the year after that.
To be a farmer, you have to have good soil health.
The cover crop does take the carbon out of the air, and we can put something on behind our main crops to help the environment, help our soil health.
We've been excited to see the interest by farmers to grow small grains and couple that with legume cover crops, which allow us to grow nitrogen for our following year's corn using sunlight energy only.
In today's modern agriculture and ranching, we feel if we do the right thing today, the right thing will happen tomorrow. This ranch is in tremendous hands for the 6th, the 7th, and many generations to come.
My name is Miles Lee. I'm currently a sophomore sustainable agriculture student at North Carolina Agricultural and Technical State University from Decatur, Georgia. To me, regenerative agriculture just describes a method of farming and grazing that works to restore or regenerate the natural ecosystems by building soil, organic matter, and also can help reverse climate change by drawing down carbon out of the atmosphere. I believe that regenerative agriculture deepens our relationship with nature while also ensuring the longevity of our current agricultural systems. As I got involved with Future Farmers of America in high school, it served as a tremendous stepping stone in intertwining my passion that I had in my youth when I was just outside digging holes into a career that could translate into soil conservation. And understanding the role that soil conservation has in establishing our agricultural systems for future generations is important for young people to be recruited into agriculture. So that's why I feel as if it's so important for organizations such as the Walmart Foundation to make grants to FFA to continue to recruit people and kind of let people know that agriculture goes beyond farming.
Good morning. The first thing I thought after I heard Miles was, has future farming of America changed? Certainly not what we were focused on when I was in high school and into college. The work on nature and agriculture obviously is very important and critical to our success broadly. So a special thank you to all of the suppliers, NGOs, and our associates who are working to make change in these areas. My name's Latrice Watkins. I am the leader of the consumables business for Walmart US Merchandising, and I'm excited to be here. Like Julie, I'm very competitive. The whole time she was talking, I was thinking, well, we've done that. But, so we're all competitive. I know I'm not the only one. Megan was probably thinking that. I know my team was because they were texting me. And we're making a lot of progress as merchants. Progress on our sustainability goals, focus on ways that we can make change with a more regenerative mindset. And that shows up in how we make decisions, how we try new things, all with a lens toward being regenerative, but in a scalable way. Now, one example, Julie, that I'm really proud of, in consumables across the Walmart and Sam's Club teams, we've made a lot of progress already. We've exceeded our chemical reduction goal ahead of time. And we reduced our priority chemical footprint of formulated products by 17%. I think that's really impressive. And Doug, I know you said progress is important, but we're not finished. And so we'll keep going. But we're a global company. And so separately around the world, we've made a lot of progress by investing in circular economies, trying to find ways to bring products and innovations together that help us reduce waste and encourage more sustainable behaviors. So I'm going to give you a few examples. The first one is the circular connector. Now, we launched this in April, and maybe many of you have heard of it already, but it is a way of finding sustainable products and connecting people who need those sustainable products. So, a matchmaking. We have it, you need it, and it is an online tool that helps us bring those two things together, which I think is really important. We already have over 165 innovations submitted, and they're across design, recycling, reduction, waste. It covers the whole gamut. So if you're out there and you need these types of tools, we already have one available for you. Second, a pilot lunch by Sam's Club in Texas. And it was with a collaboration with an organization called Texan by Nature. Dan, every time I went over my notes and I read it, Texan by Nature just made me think of you. And Texans for Clean Water. And the organization helps to recycle PET thermoforms in El Paso. And this is creating a pathway to allow us to reduce litter and waste in our roadways and waterways by making recycling much more accessible. Finally, you've heard about it. Anybody got a blue bag on their chair? We are scaling the solutions to give us the opportunity to identify alternatives for single bag use. Last June, Nabila told you we started in Canada. We also have it in Mexico, in Chile, and in many states across the United States. Obviously, our associates and teams are very important to making this happen, and we appreciate the work that they do to make it easy. And another special shout out to Alvis for this bag in particular. Now, one of the things that's important about us all participating in sustainability is finding ways to do something different. How many of you take your reusable bag to Walmart right now? Okay, so there are a number of us in this room with this new bag can do something different. So we can all leave the room, and like Diana said, we just have to remember to take our bags with us and to use them in lieu of plastic bags that we might be offered. Now, we've done a lot and we've made some progress, but it's not enough. So I'd like to make a couple of announcements on new things that we're doing. First, as part of the work we're doing on chemical management, I'd like to share with you and announce for the first time that we have on our website a new clean beauty program. Now, this means that we've curated an assortment of products with 5,700 of the chemicals that you don't want in your beauty products. And we're making 500 of those available right now to our associates that meet the standards for a clean beauty program. And you heard from AC earlier, you'll hear from Alex in a few moments. We'll ask you all to continue to participate with us in creating more products along with the rest of our supply base to bring more of these products to life for our customers. A big congratulations to the beauty team and to the sustainability team for the work that we've been able to do together to make this a reality for our customers. So the second thing, beyond our, she wants to clap back there. The second thing is beyond our current operations, we work closely with our suppliers to adopt more innovative packaging and products related to circularity. And while we've got a lot of progress, a lot of momentum around plastics, there is a lot more to do because change can be difficult. So I'm pleased to make the second announcement that Walmart.org is supporting Delterra to expand Plastic IQ to Latin America. So it's something we're already doing in lots of places, but we're expanding it to our Latin American teams. The tool will be available across Brazil and Indonesia, allowing many more companies to better measure and manage their plastic output. Because what you measure, what happens? When you measure, that's right, it gets better, you give yourself a better opportunity to make all the improvements that you want to make. So thank you to Walmart.org for that commitment. Now, all of this is an important part of becoming a regenerative company, but obviously we don't do it alone. And so we do have a group that's going to join me and talk about the work that we're doing to make sure that we're creating a more regenerative company and a more sustainable products across our portfolio. So I'd like to ask if Whitney, hi. Whitney's from our in-home team, if you'll join us up here. Alex Keith is the CEO of Beauty for Procter & Gamble, and Kirk Tanner is our CEO of Beverages for PepsiCo. Kirk, I couldn't find you. I got nervous. I didn't see you. You made it. Thank you for being here. Let's start by talking about how we're leveraging the business to make impact in these outcomes related to sustainability and regeneration. And Whitney, I want to start with you because you've got incredible work going on in the in-home business. And I'd love for the team to hear more about what you're doing, what you're proud of. So why don't we start with you?
Yeah, sure. So starting this month, we are going to be collaborating with several of our brand partners and Loop to offer a limited selection of products to be available for purchase in reusable and refillable packaging. Through this program, Walmart Plus in-home customers will be able to purchase a number of products that they buy every day in reusable packaging and then have those products delivered into their home by in-home. When we developed this program, it was really important to us to simplify some of the elements that you would typically think of with a reuse program. What I mean by that is typically you have to ask a customer to return their empty container to a store or a depot, but we're going to remove that from the need from our customers. So we'll just lean on our in-home associates to pick up those empty containers, have them bring them back to the brands where they will be then cleaned and refilled for future use.
Excellent, thank you. Do you have room for more in-home customers?
We have lots of room for more in-home customers. We also have room for more suppliers to list their products through this program. So we are launching this month with a limited selection of products, but we're really excited to get more and more products into this program. So if you're a supplier in the room today and you're not already involved in this program, I'd encourage you to get involved and work with us to get your products listed.
Very cool, thank you. Alex, we've been working with P&G for a long time on sustainability, and I think the last time we were together in person, we talked about the launch of Tide Cold Water, and now we're talking about beauty products and sustainability. I know that you're proud of the work, and as a company, you all are really focused on sustainability and regeneration. So maybe talk a little bit more about what we're doing in beauty, or what you all are doing in beauty, and a lot of we're doing together.
Sure, thanks. Thanks for the question. I think, we know that that over 80% of people in the world desire to live a more sustainable lifestyle, but less than 20% of them have taken any real action to actually do that. And it's that gap and that insight that really underpins Procter & Gamble's total strategy. Beauty is a bit at the forefront because of our consumer, but Procter & Gamble's total strategy, which is to provide superior products that give consumers and give people the usage experience they desire, the benefits they want, but are also sustainable. And so we eliminate the trade-off for people and allow them to reduce their footprint as they choose the products they want to use. Our business units are at the center of doing this and providing those innovations and products. But because of our size and scale, we need sustainability inventions that can provide the capabilities not only to our own business units, but in many ways the whole industry in order to make a real difference. So one of the big areas we've been focused on is plastics, and obviously increasing the recyclability of plastics. We have a number of programs corporately that are enabling us. The one great example is that we have invented and scaled a process using digital watermarking to increase the quantity and quality of recycled plastics. This whole work started with a partnership with the Ellen MacArthur Foundation, but now includes 160 companies and key NGOs as partners in the work. In the area of polypropylene, which is 20% of Procter & Gamble's plastic resin usage, we've invented a process that removes almost all the impurities from the end product, which in the end then increases the use of recycled polypropylene. And we're now out licensing this process so that the total industry can benefit from it. And finally, we've partnered over the last 2 years with the Recycling Partnership in the area of polypropylene. And pretty excited to say that in July, Walmart, P&G, and a number of companies in this room celebrated the important milestone that polypropylene is now widely recyclable because of the work of the coalition. we're so encouraged by that. We're now going to take the same approach with PET plastic, which is another, of course, big amount of plastic in our stream. So ultimately, we're doing work as a corporation to underpin the work in our business units like beauty. So as we innovate to bring products that people want to use, that provide superior benefits and usage experiences, they also reduce their footprints. And that will help us close that gap between intention and action.
I think that's great. And the really important part about that is, one, we can take learnings across our companies, and two, we can collaborate together across multiple parts of the industry to make a broader impact. And I think that's what doing it together actually looks like and means. So thank you for that. Kirk, we've been collaborating on recycling for a long time as companies. I remember when I was back in the beverage business, working on recycling and thinking about how we evolve and change. And you've made a lot of progress since my time and now with John, but maybe share a little bit about a little bit of the highlight of how you all have made progress and how we're collaborating differently.
Yeah, no, this is a great opportunity to talk about this. One thing that's really exciting about this is real. And the scale of Walmart and the partnership with PepsiCo and other beverage providers, we can make something real happen in a short amount of time. And that reality is taking a plastic bottle. Now you all have those beautiful Proud Source bottles in front of you. Is there a plastic? I see a plastic bottle over there. You take that plastic bottle and it comes back as a plastic bottle, and it comes back as a plastic bottle, and it comes back as a plastic bottle. When I was growing up, we collected aluminum cans. I collected aluminum cans, I returned it, I got, a little bit of money. How many collected aluminum cans? Look, we can't collect plastic at the same rate of aluminum. Yes, we can, and our teams are working on exactly that. Our teams did this pilot in Tulsa, Oklahoma, in 2 Walmarts and 2 Sam's Clubs to drive collection and to educate customers on how to do it, incent customers to do it, and create a location where they could recycle with ease. Taught us a great deal. We did this pilot for 8 months, and it's given us a ton of insight on how to scale it and drive that. So if you think about turning that plastic bottle into another plastic bottle, it really is, 1, make the plastic bottle 100% recyclable. 2, collection, and then 3, conversion back into recycled plastic. And together, we're gonna make this a reality. And that is something that's right at our doorstep. Today, recycling rates of plastic are only at 28%. So that's the opportunity. It's a problem, but I think it's an opportunity. There's that much plastic out there that we can turn back into plastic bottles. And that is the mission, and the team has been working incredibly hard on making that a reality. And that's what I love about this part of it, is like, we can make this real.
Yeah, and I think the manufacturers do the work, and retailers, and Diana mentioned earlier, there are numerous ways that we're working to give the customers access to that recycling, to give them the opportunity to do what helps us create that loop of recyclability. We've got a couple of pilots, a couple in Northwest Arkansas on recycling, and then in beauty, we've got the Beauty Take Back program in 25 stores across the U.S. So it's not just about creating the mechanisms, but also creating a situation that makes it easy and accessible, and we're proud to be partnering on being able to
those behaviors are critical. It's just I had a behavior as an 8-year-old collecting aluminum cans. We can create those behaviors. It's right at it's
and I think
great.
The 2 young ladies earlier told us it's our responsibility, that we have to do more.
Yeah.
Alex, you've been working locally to build circularity in recycling. Can you talk about some wins and some challenges with the work that you've been doing so far?
Sure. I mean, I mentioned earlier some of the wins that we've seen with the processes and inventions in the area of recyclability. So I won't repeat those. I do think the challenges are really about scaling, about the availability of material at the levels and amounts that not only Procter & Gamble needs, but the world needs. Certainly, I think behavior of people. And not only do we need to have the recycling streams available and the recycling technologies available, we need people to participate in those processes. So a bit along the lines of what Kirk was talking about. But I think, we are seeing some real wins as we bring more of these superior products to market that do leverage recycled plastics, no virgin plastic or less virgin plastic. We are seeing that our intention is coming to life, and that ultimately a better plastic footprint coupled with products that people really want to use will lead to better outcome.
I think last couple of questions. Thank you, Alex. What gives you hope, Kirk and Whitney? What are you excited about? Maybe Kirk go first, and then Whitney, you bring us home.
Well, what gives me hope is there's real traction, and the entire industry is focused. I'm talking about the beverage industry. One, from the race over the last couple of years to make everything recyclable, and then work as an industry to make that happen. I would say the last thing that gives me hope is sustainability is at the center of our strategy as we talk as teams. It used to be we'd bring our innovation and we'd bring our things. Today, the sustainability of those products that we bring to you is at the heart of what we talk about. It's not just an afterthought. It's right in the center of the strategy, and that's a big difference, and that's what gives me hope.
Sure. So as we are expanding in-home, and we're having a really big year of expansion this year, we're continuing to keep circularity and broader sustainability as really core pillars of our service. So already today, if you opt to get your in-home order delivered into your kitchen, we are offering packaging-free delivery, so no plastic bags that you have to deal with. By the end of this year, we plan to have all in-home orders arriving at customers' homes on an electric vehicle. And looking to the future, we're excited about finding new ways to incorporate sustainability into our broader offering. So we think that's what our customers want, but it's also what's best for the planet.
That's pretty incredible. It's a 360 approach. It's pretty much everything we've talked about today. Congratulations. Can you all help me appreciate the panel?
At Walmart, we've made a commitment to pursue regeneration. A critical element of that is breaking the link between consumption and waste and designing a more circular economy. Our superpowers in this journey are omnichannel presence and strategic philanthropy. With multiple goals driving us forward, we've been collaborating with our associates, merchants, suppliers, and NGOs to test and learn what we can scale across our enterprise. For example, this July, Walmart US launched a new program to help customers discover refurbished products at everyday low prices, making it easier to find, compare, and shop refurbished items online. In Chile, we partnered with El Gramo, a Chilean startup for bulk sale of private brand cleaning products in reusable packaging, and earlier this year expanded it with additional home cleaning products with Unilever. In Mexico, we are teaming up with 13 brand partners to expand recycling center programs for our customers, now in 21 stores across 9 states of Mexico. In 2022, we have helped 11,000 customers transform more than 9.2 tons of recyclable materials. In India, we've removed all plastic from Flipkart's shipping packaging. Another key part of this work is driven by interventions that help shift the recycling and reuse system and influence behavior change among customers. For example, the Walmart Foundation identifies the right channels to build capacity for a circular economy, such as supporting tools like Plastic IQ that help accelerate reduction, reuse, and recycling, or expanding access to recycling through closed-loop infrastructure funds below market loans. Or the work being done by the Recycling Partnership to improve recycling infrastructure and help restore the eligibility of rigid polypropylene packaging to use the widely recycled labeled in the U.S. under the How to Recycle Label program. We know there is still a long road ahead of us, but we are on our way to building a world where product life cycles no longer have a beginning, middle, and an end. We envision systems that are designed to be truly circular, reusable, restorative, and regenerative. Learn more at corporate.walmart.com/purpose/sustainability.
I think we all know the devastating impact of climate change. And also, hopefully by now, you know that we've set some really bold goals to be zero emissions in our own operations by 2040. So I'd like to very quickly introduce you to 2 amazing new leaders who've joined the team recently. Vishal and Joseph, please come up. They are right front and center of helping us to deliver on those goals. So Vishal is leading energy transformation for Walmart, and Joseph is leading supply chain for Sam's. Thank you so much for being with us today, guys. So Vishal, tell us about, we're so excited to have you in this new role. We've made some great progress on renewable energy. Talk to us about what that means and what it means for the momentum ahead.
Look, first off, Jane, thanks for having me here. I've just been here a few months, but I can't think of a more exciting time to have joined. You noted our renewable energy targets. When you think about the scale of our operations, we use as much energy as entire states do, or even some small countries. And so for us to get to 46%, that's a massive amount of energy. And it's a great achievement. And so I'm really excited about where we are. But what I'm more excited about is the path ahead. Whether it's our renewable power goals or our zero emissions targets, ultimately what we're trying to do within the energy transition that's taking place is really to transform how we secure and use all forms of energy and do it in a way that's not only cost effective, but ideally value accretive as well. With the Inflation Reduction Act that has recently been passed, there's really an unprecedented amount of support for decarbonization now in this country. And it's not only just of the power sector, but for the industrial and transportation sectors as well. And even before the passage of that legislation, there's been a tremendous amount of innovation that's been taking place, both on improving existing technologies as well as developing new ones. And so there's really a focus on decarbonization in this country like there's never been before. Now, transformation of this scale is certainly not an easy task, and there's definitely some headwinds to be navigated. But I'm really excited about the trajectory that we're on. I think we've got a great opportunity to continue to build on our momentum and really accelerate our progress and play a leading role as we look forward. And to really make an impact as we work as a group to achieve some of the goals that we're on as a society. And so I'm quite encouraged about, again, the trajectory that we're on. But we've got a road ahead of us. We've got a long way to go. It's going to be a lot of hard work and a lot of complexity to navigate as we really create a whole new energy system here in this country. But with the policy support that we've now got behind us, there's a window that's opened up for us to really run hard and run fast. And that makes for exciting times, for sure.
Awesome. Thank you, Vishal. We're so excited to have you on board. Joseph, you too. We're very excited of what's happening over at Sam's Club. You're on a roll. Please tell us a bit about the innovations in supply chain.
Absolutely. So when we look at the supply chain and how we contribute to the regeneration goals, it starts first in looking at our existing system and how we can optimize those end-to-end flows to ultimately reduce the amount of miles, the amount of trucks. And in some cases, those are systems that have been highly optimized in the past, but we now can take a new look on a radical way and looking at how we can reduce those miles, increase utilization, reduce empty miles. But there's a piece that we can do in our own environment, but there's a lot of impact that we can create as we partner with our key suppliers to look at our end-to-end systems together and figure out how those can complement each other to reduce waste even further. We're also looking at opportunities with innovations, particularly in automation, how we can reduce the total amount of packaging that we use for our e-commerce business, which ultimately enables us to reduce trucks and the volume that's required to carry those packages. We're also looking with many of you on how we can enable e-commerce packaging to be more robust for e-commerce deliveries so that it shows up the way it was originally intended without us having to wrap it or do something else to add waste in the process. And then the last part, Doug alluded to it at the very beginning, we are looking also at our Class 8 vehicles and how we can drive innovations in that sector and be the first to pilot and scale things around either using electricity or hydrogen fuel vehicles. Both what we do in our yards, we move a lot of trucks inside of our yards, but also on the road. And then you take another example with reefer trucks that keep our fresh and frozen products cool, looking at how we could add actually electricity into the mix to where instead of using diesel, as is common today, we could actually enable with electricity to keep the products cool for the full or most of the transit.
That's awesome. Thank you, Joseph. So much exciting stuff happening at Sam's, and we're delighted that you're on board. So we have a little treat right now. One of our amazing innovative leaders, Rachel Griffin, who leads Last Mile, is out in the parking lot. So Rachel, hopefully this technology is going to work and you're going to be able to show us what you've got going on out there.
Good morning. I'm Rachel Griffin, and I'm out here representing supply chain innovation, all things over the road and last mile. And here, first up, we have the Bright Drop electric delivery van, which we've reserved 5,000 of, and they'll start hitting the road as soon as early next year. These will help us deliver online orders in a more sustainable way. Next up, we have the canoe delivery vehicle. These, we've committed to purchasing 4,500 over the next 5 years and will also be used to fulfill online orders. The Last Mile team has also partnered with autonomous delivery company Cruise using electric vehicles and expanding our drone delivery pilot with Drone Up. The transportation team has also been hard at work. Right here, we have the Nikola transportation cab that's being used in a DC factory in California.
Rachel, that's awesome.
Make sure to come out and check out these vehicles today. And back to you, Jane.
It nearly worked. It nearly worked really well. Rachel, thank you so much. And for those of you here in Bentonville today, please go out and check them in the parking lot. They're going to be there until this afternoon. So Rachel, Vishal, Joseph, thank you so much. There's some really exciting work ahead of us. And now I'm going to pass over to my good friend and equally competitive merchant, Mr. John Laney, who's going to talk to us about emissions in the supply chain. Thank you, guys.
Good morning, everyone. And if you're part of the panel, if you go ahead and come on up. So I'm going to talk to you a little bit today about Project Gigaton, and I have an exciting panel of folks here to help us learn a little bit today. So first, I want to introduce Marcine Mitchell, who comes to us from the World Wildlife Fund, and Molly Fogarty, who comes to us from Nestle. And then we have one of our digital guests today. Let's see if we can get to Polly up on the screen. So the Polly's staying up late tonight. She's in India. I think it's about 8 o'clock there, if my watch is correct. So thank you for staying up and working late for us tonight. I much appreciate it. And so I'm going to talk a little bit about Project Gigaton. You know, since the start, Project Gigaton has always been about a measurement of success, right? It's a way that we can set high goals and measure against ourselves to make sure that we are reaching the standards and the objectives that we've all aimed to reduce carbon emissions. And so I'm going to ask you guys a couple of questions about how that has changed our business and also help us think about how to set ourselves up for the future. So Molly, let's start with you. What have been some of the resources within Project Gigaton that has helped you advance your climate goals at Nestle?
Yeah, I'm so glad to be here today. And I think it's amazing to be in a room where you sit with companies that have shared values like we do. And like so many of us, we've been on a sustainability journey for a very long time, but with the implementation of Project Gigaton, we were very pleased in 2017 to be able to join on as an original signatory to that. And I think the thing that's been incredible about it is it does set SMART goals. So they are measurable. It requires us to really advance progress. We've been really delighted to be able to be a Giga Guru along this journey with you as well so that we can actually report on that progress. And I think to the resource question, we've heard a lot today about sort of piloting and sharing experiences. And I think that's one of the best things that has come out of this whole experience for us, has been the ability to share and learn from others. So as a part of that, I would say it's really been about being able to set these stretch goals, work on them together, and then learn from each other in the process, which is really critical as we work to solve some of these big systemic problems.
Yeah, no doubt. Thank you. That's great. DePauli Wellspun has been a partner with us since the very, very beginning of Project Gigaton, and it continues to be a great partner today. So a similar question for you. How has Gigaton helped you accelerate your progress against your climate goals?
So first of all, thank you, Walmart, for having me here. Our journey goes back to 20 years. Since 1993, we've been partners with Walmart. Walmart has helped us to grow and evolve as a vendor across this part of the world. Project Gigaton actually helped us to bring a lot of focus on the climate issues. Since 2017, we have been able to save around 0.6 million gigajoules of energy, avoiding over 1 million tons of CO2 through the energy efficiency measures. Today, if I say it's around 176,000 gigajoules of energy annually, that is around, that could light up around 100 villages in our country. So that's something is a very big deal for us. As we speak about this, we recently also started our ETP sludge as a fuel source in our boilers for power generation, and also the agri residue that saves us around 7,000 metric tons of coal that is used. Rice husk that is used in our boilers. Today at WellSpan, we are proud to say our goal is to be 2030 completely green energy. So we have now embarked on this journey, and by 2023, we'll be 20% on this. Just to add on to what we are doing with Project Gigaton and being a Gigaguru, we are also using 10,000 million liters of water that is completely recycled. As you know, it's energy and water that make textiles work. And that's where we're trying to make some kind of an impact. Thank you.
Thank you, Dipali. That's excellent. It's exciting to hear. Molly, I'm going to come back to you, and then Marcin, I'll come to you after that. So we have a room here full of business partners and suppliers and et cetera. And the world of sustainability has gotten more complex because we've gotten smarter over time, and it's become more than just carbon emissions as we try to balance water usage, nature, people, so many other things. What advice would you have for suppliers in the room today as they think about balancing the complexity of all the areas we need to focus?
Yeah, I really appreciate today's summit because it's allowed me to think about this from others' perspectives too, where you're really looking at, we can't really focus on just one thing. In some ways we'd like to, it'd be easier to solve, but the reality is we have to work on all of the things. And we heard it in an earlier panel, a lot of this comes down to really embedding it early in the process. It has to be end-to-end thinking, it has to be sharing. We've got this ability to really accomplish these goals, but no matter the size and scale of any of the companies that participate in this objective, it really requires us to work together. And we have to do it not as standalone sustainability teams or champions, but we saw it today with the young people who are really looking at us and requiring us to do that. Those are your customers, they're our consumers, and we have a responsibility to really live up to their standards and what they're expecting. So we have to do it by working in deep partnership together and by sharing.
Yeah, no doubt. And Project Gigaton over the years has been primarily focused on carbon emissions. And we're working on expanding our reach there to cover nature, waste, people, and some other things. So Marcin, maybe I'll come over to you for this one. What is your advice to ensure that Project Gigaton is equally as impactful in the future as it has been to get us to this point today?
All right, thank you, and thank you for inviting me. And I just want to say congratulations to Walmart and to all the suppliers who have been part of the growth and success of this Gigaton project. It's really wonderful. And as you look forward to the next phase of Gigaton, I encourage you to build on the foundation that you have on carbon emissions and adopt the science and the best science-based targets in order to lead the way. We know that our scientists are telling us that we need to be net zero by 2050. And I commend Walmart for really taking an ambitious target of being net zero by 2040. And I know for the suppliers, that means a lot of work. That means more measurement, more data collection, more innovation. But I encourage you not to be afraid of starting down that journey, even if you don't really know how exactly you're going to make it. Start on that path. And as you expand, we know that not only do we have a crisis in climate change, but as we heard earlier, we also have a crisis of nature. That we have the challenge and the risk of the ecosystems that we all depend on for our lives and livelihoods of collapsing. So we do need to expand that to address nature. And we've all grown up in a society where we've learned that our process is to extract, use, and dispose. And we need a change in our mindset of how do we look at things more circular? How do we move to the next way of producing for ourselves? And finally, I just say, don't forget the people, because it's all about the people. That's what we're doing everything for. That's how we earn our living. And we need to touch the hearts and the minds of people, helping them have good livelihoods and helping them live healthy and happier lives through this process. So.
Thank you. What a call to action. A lot of jokes today, by the way, about merchants being very competitive. The other thing that's unique about merchants, we're very comfortable asking people for things. It's what we do kind of for a living. And so I'm gonna turn to y'all. That was a really clear call to action that I heard from today. So if you're in for it, I want you to raise your hand, okay? We got a lot of people in this, folks, that are gonna commit to making a step forward. And I appreciate your leadership. Can you guys thank our panelists that are here today joining us?
In 2017, Walmart launched Project Gigaton with a bold goal to avoid or reduce 1 gigaton of greenhouse gas emissions from the global value chain by 2030. Since then, Project Gigaton has evolved to 6 pillars of action: energy, waste, packaging, transportation, nature, and product use and design. Over 4,500 suppliers signed up. Over 2,500 reporting in 2021, representing over 70% of Walmart U.S. product net sales, and together reporting over 574 million metric tons of greenhouse gas emissions reduced or avoided since 2017. The big question then is, what's next for Project Gigaton? Here's a glimpse. Gigaton is evolving to become a broader platform that powers a more sustainable supply chain. Gigaton will emphasize taking action now and increasing impact. That means inspiring more ambitious goals, driving more collective action, and calling for faster systemic transformation, and working with industry leaders to listen to suppliers' needs and eliminate barriers in the journey toward a regenerative future. The future of Project Gigaton is here and is aimed at transformation, accelerating regeneration now. Join us on our journey.
So apologies we went a little over this morning, but I hope you can see how passionate and committed we are here at Walmart on the topic of regeneration. And not only the passion and commitment, but the deliberate action and the innovation that has gone within the company, with our supplier community, with our NGO partners. I want to leave you with one thing. I have been absolutely privileged over the last year to get out and see some beautiful parts of the world. I have been in Botswana, I've been in Estes Park, and just recently in Yellowstone. And the thing that struck me is how beautiful, but also how fragile our world is. And I am committed to ensure that I pass on to the next generation an earth that is as habitable and as beautiful as the earth that I inherited. And I hope you will join us at Walmart in being that regenerative company in regenerative communities. Thank you for being here today, and I just encourage you to partner with us in many different ways to push this forward. Thank you.